Y'all, what in the backdoor betrayal and street code shattering bombshell is going on in Oblak? Because baby, if you thought the King Von case was closed, buried, and forgotten like yesterday's drill beef, think again. Cause Munna and Youngin just dropped some jaw-unlocking, blood pressure spiking, career-ending confessions that have the whole internet screaming, ain't no way they just said that. How do you go from rip my twin to accidentally snitching on yourself in HD? How do you sit on camera, eyes twitching, voice cracking, practically begging to be subpoenaed and call that clearing the air? Was it guilt? Was it pressure? Or was it just straight up stupidity mixed with a sprinkle of fame chasing? And baby, if what these two just exposed is even halfway true, then somebody better tell Lil Durk to start lawyering up, because this rabbit hole? Oh, it leads all the way back to the dirtiest secrets in the OTF empire. We talking burner phones, mysterious money drops, off the record meets at 3 a.m. in Atlanta, and now allegedly a cover-up so messy, even Tuka's ops would say, damn, that's foul. Stay strapped, because what you're about to hear ... might just be the beginning of the end. Now let's get into the dirty, unwashed laundry of this entire scandal. Because baby, when I say the streets are whispering, the blogs are boiling, and the ops are screen recording in silence. I mean, it. Let's start with the stars of this digital downfall, Munna and Youngin, two former OTF affiliates who once stood 10 toes behind King Von Durk and the whole slide for Von narrative. But lately, they've been doing more talking than sliding and more tweeting than writing. And now, out of nowhere, they're dropping cryptic interviews and IG lives that sound less like tributes and more like straight-up testimony. It all started when Munna Duke, who's been suspiciously quiet for over a year, popped up on a live stream. Let's just say spiritually conflicted. Folks expected a quick check-in, maybe a story about Von or some old drill tailies, but what we got instead was a confessional booth in 4K. He said, and I quote, "Sometimes you keep secrets so long you forget who you really protecting." Oh, really, Munna? Because the moment he dropped that line, the whole internet leaned in like, "Sir, are you telling on yourself?" And it didn't stop there. He went on to hint not once, not twice, but multiple times that certain people in Von's inner circle knew exactly what was about to go down in Atlanta that night. He didn't name names. But let's just say, if you've got Google and a brain cell, the dots basically connect themselves, and then came Youngin, Laud. This man jumped on a separate live stream like he was auditioning for Law and Order, OTF, Unit, talking about loyalty ain't loyalty when money get involved. Sir, please. Youngin told viewers that he wasn't even supposed to be in Atlanta that weekend, and claimed that he only went because certain people asked him to ride down just in case. Just in case what, Youngin? A casual dinner at Waffle House turns into a fatal ambush. The tension in that live was thicker than duck sauce on Harold's chicken, because the way he kept dodging direct questions and nervously sipping water like he was prepping for a polygraph test. Baby, he wasn't telling a story, he was laying a foundation for federal protection. Let's not forget, the whole thing with King Von's murder was already suspicious from day one. A superstar gets gunned down in public, on camera, in front of his entire entourage, and nobody throws a punch except Von. Nobody shoots back except one guy. And the rest of the crew just ... watches? It was giving sacrificial lamb energy. It was giving planned chaos. It was giving somebody knew too much and said too little. And now, after 2 years of silence, Munna and Youngin come forward, dropping half-truths with full emotion like they're trying to cleanse their souls before the next indictment wave hits. And guess who's notably quiet through all this? Lil Durk. Mr. 7220 himself been radio silent. Not a tweet. Not a verse. Not even a passive-aggressive IG story. Which, for Durk, who usually turns trauma into platinum singles in under 24 hours, highly suspicious. And you better believe the fans caught that too. Because the moment those lives dropped, Twitter turned into a full-blown CSI lab. People started pulling up old photos, rewatching interviews, analyzing body language like it was a Zapruder film. Screenshots, Reddit threads, TikTok theories, you name it, it's out there. But what really flipped the table? And this is where the streets stopped talking and the burner phones started chirping, because after Munna Duke's cryptic late-night Instagram story and Youngin's accidental live stream, where he might have said too much, we are now sitting on a stack of digital receipts messier than Lil Durk's timeline during album week. Y'all, brace yourselves, because if what we're hearing is true, King Von wasn't just set up. He was outplayed in a chess game where all the other pieces were already rigged. Let's start with the leak. Yes, the leak courtesy of an unnamed blogger who claims they got their hands on a burner phone that used to belong to a certain Oblak member. And when I say burner, I'm talking green bubble, no password, crack screen type energy inside, voice notes, timestamps, and location drops that allegedly put both Munna Duke and Youngin just blocks away from the parking lot where King Von took his final breath. Now, to be clear, nobody's been charged, but the streets don't need courtrooms. When Karma is doing the sentencing, one of the most damning audio clips supposedly features a nervous Munna Duke whispering, "He not supposed to pull up this early. Ain't nobody ready." And let's not forget, Von pulled up unannounced that night. Coincidence? Or was someone expecting him at a different time, when the cameras would have been conveniently turned off? But wait, enter Youngin, stage left, who's been surprisingly vocal for someone who should probably be laying low. During his recent live, he dropped a casual, "Man, y'all don't even know what Von was really on that night. He wasn't just there to fight." Sir, what was he on? Because now we're dealing with motive, not just mystery. And remember that infamous surveillance footage, the one where Von runs up on Quando Rondo, like it's a grudge match straight out of Def Jam Vendetta? Yeah, sources say there's a missing angle, a second camera that caught more than it should have. And guess who had access to that footage first? A certain label-connected security firm tied to, you guessed it, Munna Duke's cousin. But it's not just the footage, it's the silence. The eerie, calculated silence from folks who were practically Von's shadow just a week before. Asian doll tweeting like she's reading riddles. Memo 600 suddenly going off grid. And OTF, they're posting birthday shoutouts like they ain't sitting on a nuclear level scandal. And here's the kicker, a private investigator hired by a concerned Chicago OG. Or so the Tigos claims. There's an encrypted group chat from back in 2020 that shows multiple affiliates debating whether Von was becoming too powerful, as in political level powerful. Allegedly, the message said, "Dude trying to clean up too fast might mess up the balance." And y'all know what that means in the streets. When you mess with the balance, you become the target. So let's put the puzzle pieces down on the bloody concrete one by one. Von shows up unexpectedly. Munna Duke's caught off guard. A mysterious delay, a missing camera angle, a fight that felt a little too convenient. And now, 2 years later, people who swore loyalty are either jumping ship or spilling. Secrets in the form of accidents, the Who doesn't forget. And neither do we, because as Duke and Youngin continue to throw breadcrumbs into the social media void, the internet sleuths are connecting dots that the police conveniently won't. And just when you think it couldn't get messier, Youngin slips up again, and this time it's not just talk, it's a threat disguised as a confession, because baby, just when the dust started to settle and folks were pretending like maybe, just maybe this was all paranoia and conspiracy theories, Youngin opened his mouth again, and this time, he didn't just throw himself under the bus, he drove it, reversed it, and then live streamed the aftermath. So picture this, it's 2 a.m. on a sleepy Wednesday. And Youngin decides to hop on IG Live again. No warning, no filter, just vibes and vodka. Within 5 minutes, the man goes from cracking jokes about old Oblak stories to casually saying, "Man, Von was wildin' back then, bro." That man wasn't listening to nobody. He knew what time it was when he came through that night. He knew it was hot, but he ain't care. That's why we ain't stop him. Pause, we ain't stop him, we ain't stop him. Sir, are you hearing yourself? Because that one little line shifted the whole narrative from caught off guard to stood by and watched. And the comments section? Chilly, it erupted like a volcano in drill boots. You just admitted you let it happen, one user posted. So y'all knew he was walking into the setup? But Youngin wasn't done. Nah, after a few more incoherent rambles and some nervous laughs, he dropped the bomb. If he would have just stayed his a home, none of this would have happened. He made his choice. Asterisk asterisk, that ain't a slip. That's a confession dipped in guilt and served with a side of cowardice. And let's not forget, this comes just days after the rumored leak of a deleted voice memo allegedly pulled from Von's iCloud by an industry hacker. In it, Von's heard venting to an unnamed associate saying, "I don't trust Duke no more, man. He moving funny. If something happened to me, check him first." Oh, so now the words of a dead man are coming back like poltergeists in the comment section? Because as soon as that audio made its rounds blurred, muffled, but chillingly clear, the timeline went nuclear. The Rip Von tweets got real loud again. The OTF hashtag started feeling like silent protests. And Munna Duke? He tried to get ahead of it. Posted a picture of Von with the caption, "Long live the realist. Never folded." But the streets weren't buying it. The replies were ruthless. Why Von had to mention you then? Where were you when he got jumped? Why was your phone off during the fight? And now, here comes the wild card. A burner Facebook page claiming to belong to one of Von's ex-homies from Parkway Gardens dropped a 30-second screen recording of what looks like a group FaceTime from days before Von's death. In it, allegedly, Duke, Youngin, and two unnamed voices are discussing a drop-off location and timing. Y'all, timing as in, make sure the cameras ain't rolling at 2:15. As in, he think we coming with him, but we staying back. As in, this wasn't just betrayal, this was a blueprint. So now, Oblak ain't safe. Not from the feds, not from the fans. And definitely not from the truth, because Youngin and Duke thought they could rewrite history, play dumb and flash chains like guilt don't glisten. But the ghost of Von is loud, in the whispers, in the live streams, in the cracks of loyalty that are now busting wide open. One by one, the real story is clawing its way out. And one by one, the so-called brothers who left Von out there alone are being haunted by the one thing they couldn't kill, the truth. And if you thought this was just another drill music drama, think again. Because the streets are watching, the feds are listening, and the secrets, they're leaking faster than Von's ops on Instagram Live. So what do you think Munna Duke and Youngin ain't telling us? Is this the real truth? Or just a calm before another storm? Hit that like, drop your wildest theory in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe. The next chapter is already loading.